right at your front wheel, you're not going to know what's coming up, so you're going to ride tighter, and if you hit a hole, it's a lot easier to crash. Okay, I did it 3 different ways. I came off the tabletop, I was real aggressive, came in here, wow, look at this berm, hit this berm, went nowhere. I couldn't even catch any air off the tabletop. You come in this and you see how soft this is, right here. Your bike just sinks. There's no way you can get any traction coming out of here, and I see people all day long hitting this berm, you know? Second time, came in here, jumped tabletop, little less aggressive, turned it, and I started sliding my back in. I just caught the end of the berm with my back end, and I was on the tabletop, on the gas, off it. Scrubbed off my momentum a little bit when I hit that, but I stayed at all this stuff. The third one came off the tabletop, was the least aggressive, slowed down early. I was out here, right here, made my turn early, cut it back to the inside, and I almost jumped the whole tabletop. I stayed out of the soft stuff, I took my time, and I was on the gas sooner, getting traction, and almost jumped the whole tabletop. So that's, in one turn, I had 3 different ways of doing it, and the last way was probably the most consistent. Maybe feels the slowest coming into the corner, but is the fastest coming out of the corner. And that's where you want to always think of, is how you come out of the corners, not so much of how you come in. You know, I've always explained in the video to kind of stay out of the powder berms, but you know, I guess you got to know when to use them, when not to use them. As you can tell, when I come into here, I don't try to explode it. I start the turn way up there so I can keep this almost like a sand turn, where it's big and flowing, so I can keep my momentum. And then out here it starts getting harder, a little bit more grip, and then I can get my traction to come up that hill, because this hill is kind of, you know, it's a steep hill. You know, if I came into it inside and tried to square it off and blew into it, I'd lose all momentum. But I keep this berm real big, long sweeper, so I can keep my momentum. In a soft corner like this, a higher gear might work a little bit better, because you're not just digging into the dirt. Coming out of this corner, you should be able to hit at least another gear going up that hill if you come out of it correct. That's why I say being nice and smooth with the gas, you can keep that nice arc in the corner. If you come in and be real aggressive, whack, and hit it and stuff like that, that might be nice. This will be blown out and this will be nice. So then you have almost 3 corners. So that's where being nice, easy, throttle control, looking ahead, and you know, being almost patient, you know, is better. Yeah, no, deep ruts, yeah, those are difficult, you know. It's sometimes it's a little easier to slide back on the seat a little bit, you know, because you're not going to need that front end traction because the rut's so deep. So if you get back a little bit, it's easier to keep your leg up, put it up. If you got you're up forward, you know, your legs farther out towards the front end, so you have to keep it up even higher. So it's a little bit, it might be a little easier to slide back a little bit and go through it, and then it's easier to put your leg up and it's out of the way. It's like if you drive a car and you look right past the hood, you start hitting the lines all over the place, you know? If you look up about half a mile, you can drive with no hands, you know? You can drive with your knees. And I don't recommend that, but, you know, and that's the same thing in the motorcycle. If you're looking straight down here, you can't see what's coming up, so you ride tighter. You're standing up like this. If you're looking ahead here, you go where your eyes go. Have you ever noticed when you're riding, you're looking at a rock over here, you start getting closer, closer, closer because you're looking at it. And through a rut, if you come into it and look to the end of it, you go where your eyes go. And that's when you don't hold on tight. It's all one motion, just. The most important things are looking ahead in a corner when you enter the rut, looking towards the end of the rut, trying to keep your leg off the ground as much as possible. If you hit your ground, your bike will stand up, or it'll bring you back on the bike, and then you're off balance. Sometimes there's bumps before it, so if there's bumps, you're standing up, and then right when you enter the corner, you want to sit down, look ahead, get on the gas. It's kind of one motion. If it's smooth, you're kind of sitting down, and then you can, you're already sitting down, so you get in the corner, leg out, look ahead, on the gas. And for me, I think everything should be kind of like one motion. It's not like, okay, I sit down, okay, now I got my leg out, okay, now I gas it. No, it's all one, just rah. And that's why it looks like, when you watch the pros, it's all flow, everything's just happening like that. Not, okay, I did this, okay, now do this, now do this. You don't even think about it. It's just bam, bam, bam.
These whoops here aren't tractor made, they're more made by the motorcycle, more naturally made. With these, you kind of want to keep your front wheel up, because each time you get your front wheel in, you have the suspension will go down, you'll catch air, you'll lose the forward momentum. So for me, I like to come through these and get my back wheel in every hole. Every hole I get in, I try to work it, kind of row it like you're rowing a boat, so you can keep the back wheel in each hole like this, instead of hitting off the top and losing that momentum, or getting your front end like this so you're bouncing. When you're going through, is a combination of pulling up on the bars and pushing down with your peg. I pull back enough just to have the front wheel up. You got to feel it too. You got to feel that your back wheel is going in every hole and your front wheel is going over the top of the jump. You don't want to do a giant wheelie, but just enough to get the front wheel over and keep the back wheel into the holes. Anytime on a bike you can wheelie stuff, you'll go faster. Same works with sand, hard pack, loamy conditions. Anytime you have, rough section, whoop section like that, that is not like a stadium section. You want to kind of manual it, as if you watch the BMX riders, how they manual stuff. Same thing on a motorcycle, but you got the power to be able to keep your front wheel up. You play with the throttle a little bit, but in other times you just leave it pinned. You got to kind of be one with the motorcycle. It's hard to say that in this section you do this scenario you do this. Every time's different, every lap's different. So you could go through the same section 30 times and 15 of them will probably be a little bit different. Probably the size of them. These are rounded, so it's they're very far apart, probably good 10 feet apart from tip to tip, but they're rounded, so you can you can judge, okay, if I skim them and I get into the bottom of them, it's going to be no big deal. If these were real peaked, no, I wouldn't try to skim them. I would double through them or try to triple through them, whatever. But with the way they are, you can carry a lot of speed them and just carry off the tops. I know what I'm doing when I come out of that corner, and that's why I start shifting up, probably 4th, 5th gear through these. Make sure you're in the middle of the bike or forward, have your head over the crossbar, not too far, not back, because if you're too far back and that bike end kicks you in the butt, you're going to go over the bars, your feet are going to come off the peg. In the middle, the bike can be, you're balanced like this. If you're back here, the bike kicks you in the butt, and that's when you see people's feet come off. You got to be in a high enough gear so you don't run out of gear. You got to be on the balls of your feet, I feel, so you can be quick on your bike. Grip your bike with your legs and look ahead 2 or 3 whoops ahead so you know what's coming up.
Okay, with these jumps here, it's kind of a rhythm section. It's depending on what bike you have. 125 probably to 250F, you're going to triple coming in. If you had a 450, you possibly could quad. You want to stay forward, try to stay as low as you can off each one. Get as much traction, as much drive as you can too, because that always picks up speed. Body positioning is more over the front end, just so you don't get kicked from the back end, and you can be more aggressive that way. Downside it a little easier. These, sometimes it looks like you can skim through them, but they're a bit of a distance to skim through them. You know, maybe like say on a 450, you probably could because you have that momentum, that power. On a smaller bike, you're going to have to, you know, jump through them. And they're not really steep enough to tap off them. You know, they're kind of rolling ones. So, you know, you kind of only have one way to do it. But if that's the only way, then do it the best way and the fastest way you can do it. Yeah, I mean, there's jumps out there that, you know, scares the crap out of you. But I mean, if you want to win, you want to do good, you got to do it. You know, I know there's been some jumps that every lap I'm just going, man, come on, one more time, one more time, one more time, one more time. And then, you know, but you got to be able to focus. You got to be able to kind of, you know, keep that fear out of you, and you know, be able to, so you can do it every lap. And that's what it takes. If you want to be the best or win, you got to sometimes you got to do stuff you don't want to do.